Okay, after how to win convoy, a lot of people asking for how to win domination. So here we go. Here is a few domination map examples, and I'm going to start first by playing support, and then I will also be playing DPS, so you can kind of see it from multiple perspectives here. Here, as soon as the round starts, we're trying to get access to control the space as quickly as possible. Penny is on our team, and Penny has a really great time defending space, but has a hard time setting up. So she's trying to rush there, and we're trying to get her there as fast as possible. I don't want to use all of my abilities to try and join her because of the fact that would put me at risk, and I also want to set up my BRB station in the back. So I'm applying heals while she's going to get damaged. Right now, in this early stage, what we're trying to do is sort of get a idea of what their enemy team comp is, what we're going up against, and try and find someone to make a play. Because ultimately, what you're trying to do in domination maps is get a numbers advantage. The numbers advantage in these games is absolutely huge, right? And especially in the very first fight, that first pick is what matters most of all because the enemy team doesn't have any ultimates to try and come back from that loss of a player. And the reason why this is so important is I want you to imagine you're playing on a team and someone disconnects. The odds of you winning a 6v5 all game are extremely low. So what you're trying to do in these games is always get that first pick and then hold on to that numbers advantage. So right here, we're going to start playing a bit more safe and just try and set up and control the space and try and see if we can't get a first pick. But we're not trying to rush to put, anybody out of position. But like because of the fact that we have control over this objective space first, we're going to try and maintain and hold that control so that way they don't want to come out and contest the objective. Although kills are important and they do help you take control over the objective, you could secure an objective entirely by applying enough pressure that they don't feel safe enough to walk forward to try and contest it anyway. So even though kills guarantee the objective, I've seen fights where legitimately we've capped it and held on to it because of the fact that we just applied enough damage that they couldn't walk forward. So here, I am just playing safe as we sort of are trying to control this space. I see them start to walk up, so I apply pressure to them, seeing that there's not really a whole lot of support for them. So I feel free to play a little bit more aggressive. I'm trying to keep them mindful as you see me turn around a lot because of the fact that I'm playing Rocket. I can hit my heels from afar. I'm trying to be mindful of my team and make sure that there's no flankers, nobody dying. It's good to be aware of all the things going on. Now here, our Penny gets a really great trap pick on one of their supports. And now, because of the fact that I know that they are lacking a support, if we just apply enough pressure and enough damage, they won't be able to sustain through this fight. And they don't have any ultimates to try and come back from this disadvantage. So now is our time, knowing that they are at that disadvantage, to rush them. And I apply a bunch of heals into my team so that way they feel free to just keep walking forward. We lose one, but we have the res station up, so it's okay. We maintain that numbers advantage as we now just clean up the rest of their team. But throughout all of these games, and through this one, and through any game at all, I want you to notice how quickly one team loses a player and how quickly the rest of them are going to fall over, right? As soon as we got that first pick, it was much easier for us to get the rest of the picks. And this is also why Rocket's res station is extremely powerful because that one pick is extremely strong. The res station can negate that one pick and help you maintain control for longer. So here, my team is now going to go that direction. I'm going to go this direction. And I see in this position that Cloak is on this side with Storm, right? And they are coming through this hallway as they normally do. And I'm staying back here with my team on this side because of the fact that I don't personally like to group up with my team and all stay in the clumped in the same area. I like to hold this space and I let them hold this space so that way the enemy team doesn't feel safe to walk around and take either angle, right? Because they're all funneling in from one position. If we weren't in this space and we were all grouped up over here, they could just walk in and get closer to the point for free. What we're trying to do is maintain this numbers advantage and just stay alive. On offense, you want to play risky and you want to take an aggressive play to try and make a play to get that pick so that way you can push through the team and take the objective. On defense, you want to prioritize applying pressure and staying alive. If you can alt and get a pick and you are confident that you can do so in order to, buy a time for longer to get this percentage to go up, great. But you don't want to, for instance, flank the enemy team right now and try and get a pick and put yourself at risk when you already have control over the objective, right? you don't want to, lose control by end up dying near their spawn as the rest of us then are in a 6v5 and we have to hope that we can survive till you come back. Uh, but ultimately, what you're trying to do is run the clock out as long as possible and get this percentage as high as you can. Because if you get it to 50%, you can come back and win one fight, and you only have to win one more, right? But right now, even if the enemy team, because they're at 0, they need to win one fight to take it, another fight at 50%, and possibly a third fight at the end. But right now, because we took this first, we took the point first, we only have to fully defend it for realistically 2 fights. So that's what we're trying to do. And even if we lose the fight, if we can extend it all the way to 99%, that means we only need to win one fight. So this is where we are going to play smart, but also play a bit more defensively. And because of the fact that I know I need to, hold on to that numbers advantage, I am making sure that my Emma Frost has a bunch of heals as she plays really aggressive because I don't want her dying. So here, as they apply damage and they start to walk up, we're giving up some of that space. And as Emma would walk forward, I would go up with her. And as she walks backwards, I walk back with her. What I'm trying to do now is sort of maintain a safe distance so that way nobody can jump on me. And I'm also positioning myself in a way where I'm near the jump pad because I heard at some point Psylocke cloak and I wanted to be able to get away. So here I'm applying heals. I'm waiting to see what happens. I heard her cloak and I tried to use the jump pad to make sure she didn't want to go for me. And here we're backing up to the point, which is safer because of the fact that we have the penny mines here. And we are just applying, we only walked up to apply pressure to slow down their approach to the point, right? Because of the fact that once again, we're just trying to run the clock out. So we walk up to hold that space, apply that pressure the best we can, but we still, because of penny, we will fight best on the point. So we back up as soon as they start to push in. I throw my res station out a little late there, unfortunately. And we lost one, we lost another, but we have the res station. And here's where the res station comes in. Even though we lost one, I put the res station down, we got a kill. And because of the fact now we're back to even. So I throw down my ult to try and give us the advantage. With Invisible Woman ult, I tried to shoot to see how much damage I could do. It wasn't enough. It wasn't going to do anything. So I prioritized then staying alive. And for me, I was trying to destroy that pillar to see if I could get it to fall down. But instead, I tried to dash up instead. Because I want to get out of this hectic chaos here as I'm trying to make sure that we just hold on control over this objective. And because I'm the support, that means I need to stay alive. One thing I wanted to mention is that when the enemy team is ulting to try and take control over the objective, you want to try and incentivize them to use as many ultimates as possible while staying alive through as many of them as you can. The more ultimates they use in that fight in order to try and secure the objective, the easier your next fight will be. Whether it be you're coming back from spawn, or if you back up, let them take the point and let them have it for free while staying alive and letting them use ultimates just to force you off, you then can save your ults and then retake the objective immediately afterwards in a much easier fight. We lost one, which is unfortunate, but I hear our Scarlet Witch ulting, so I immediately start pumping heals into her to try and make sure that she doesn't die, and she gets a pick for it. Cloak and Dagger is now ulting onto the point to make sure that we secure the point and hold on to it for longer. This is really good because the entire time that both teams are using ultimates, right? Even if both teams use ultimates, it's better for us because of the fact that the percentage is going up. Once again, we're just trying to get that as high as humanly possible. Even if we lose a fight, it's okay because we might only need to win one more fight. So Cloak and Dagger ulting on the point is great, even if we might necessarily have a numbers disadvantage here because of the fact that we're trying to run that clock out. This is also why Captain America is really good on domination maps and stuff like that. He could use his ult just to get another 20-30% charge and hold on to the point for longer. So here, I hop into the Cloak ult and I start applying damage because I just wanted us to get the kills. Ella starts ulting. I feel like she's going to start targeting me, which she does. I stand behind the pillar and I climb up to maintain cover and stay alive. I'm bouncing the orbs off of the thing to make sure I heal myself. I throw my res station. Hela tries to fight me. I think I can fight her, and I can't. Lesson learned, don't duel Hellas. I don't know why. I mean, this is me stress testing. Sometimes I do that just to see if I can, and I can't. So luckily, Scarlet Witch ends up getting the kill on Hela, which gives us an advantage. Or it gives us, takes us the point to 99%. This is why it's really important to get this point to 99%, because now in this situation, even if we lose this fight, it's okay because of the fact that we want them to use as many ultimates as we can in order to get them to try and take control of the objective. Because the more ults they use to take this objective, the better it makes our return to take the point back afterwards even easier, right? So right now, all I'm trying to do is, even though I'm pretty sure this fight is going to be lost, maybe my team gets lucky and gets some picks and we're able to retake it. So I'm just pumping heals into my team. And at worst, the team uses a bunch of ultimates to take it. So there, I put the res station up. You can see here how like I use this positioning to keep myself safe, right? I am always positioning in a way where I can see my team and help them from a range, but also I'm near cover all the time. So there, I'm applying a bunch of heals to my team. Once again, even though we're probably, once I see that we're probably going to lose this fight, it's okay. We lose a bunch of players and we start to back out. We start to give up that space now. Because in this situation, you have two choices. One, do I die and reset faster, or I can get out, right? If you can get out, great. But if you can't, sometimes it's better to die and reset than it is to try and run away for 10 seconds, end up dying, and then having to wait another 9 to come back. You kind of have to pick in the moment which is faster, because now their clock is running and they're trying to hold that as long as possible for themselves. And the more that you stagger, the longer they have control over the objective, because you're trying to get back to a point where you have a 6v6 fight. So here I'm just prioritizing healing as, both teams are sort of poking to try and build ult charge. And here's a strategy that I have talked about in some of my videos, but now I finally get to illustrate it here. We are doing what's considered a dry push. I tell my teammates, hey, we only need to win one fight. So instead of trying to, take a fight where we have a 50% chance of winning, and then if we lose that, we take a second fight where we have a 50% chance of losing. Let's dry push in. Don't use any ultimates. Try to get them to use as many ults as possible. So that way we only, on our second fight, because we have so much time, we have ult economy advantage, and it's a much easier fight for us to win. So now we're walking forward. I'm telling my teammates just walk in, bait them, convince them to try and, ult. And here's where they mess up. They get a pick without using ultimates, so they have the advantage, but they get greedy. And Magic wants to hold on to that advantage and stagger us even longer, which is not the worst idea in the world. So they're only using one ultimate. But then they end up using a Invisible Woman ult as well. So now they're down 2 ultimates for this next push of ours. So our team, knowing the strategy, backs out, gives up that space, tries to stay alive. And in the process of doing so, because we played so safe and because we went in, baited those ultimates, and then backed out, we ended up getting a really lucky pick on someone who had ult charge up, had their ultimate fully charged. And what's really unfortunate for them is they used their one defensive ult, and because they didn't prioritize staying alive while holding that objective, now we're going to push in faster before the cloak has time to get back. And even if, we're down 1 right here, we're going to push up with a massive ult advantage. I want you to see how my team has far more ultimates to defend the point than they do right now. So now we're going to rush them with just sheer force alone. So now we're using ultimates, and I'm not using mine right away. We don't want to all use our ultimates at once. You want to try and use your ultimates as efficiently as possible. So it's one person on your team ults, try and see if they're going to get a kill. If you need to ult afterwards to follow up, then great, but you don't want to all stack them all at once in case you might need them later. Because once again, when you're going for that numbers advantage, you're only trying to make sure that you secure that numbers advantage and you hold on to it. If you only need one ult to kill 2 people, great. Then you don't need to use any more ultimates. There's far too many players who want to stat pad their, the scoreboard for themselves and say, look how many kills I have. But like realistically, you only need to get 1 pick in a fight to win that fight. So playing smart and playing efficiently is a lot easier than trying to, get a bunch of kills. But now you see that because of the fact that Cloak and Dagger died, because they didn't have ult advantage, because she didn't play to live on defense, now, as she comes out, she has to Cloak and Dagger point on your user ult on point in order to buy time for them to switch to Doctor Strange so they can portal back on. It's the right play, but she wouldn't have had to do that in the first place if she played smart and played safe while having control over that objective. So now, once they show up onto the point with Strange Portal, we have ult advantage. As Emma Storm is ulting, but now we have my ult and we have Bucky ult. So we have 2 ults to their 1.
This is real firepower.
And now I'm prioritizing staying alive because once again, just like before, I'm in a position in which I can safely heal my team and I can get behind cover if need be. So here, because of the fact that my team is all fighting here on the point, I can play safe. And even though we lost our support, they lose the support as well. But I am in an extremely safe position where once she starts to look at me, I can just walk away. And now, because of the fact that my ult was out there and everything too, and giving them the advantage, I just need to let my ult, apply the pressure with them to get those picks. And once again, once you have that numbers advantage, you're just trying to hold on to it. But you see how once you sort of have control over that objective, then the opposing team needs to do something risky in order to try and take the objective back. For them, it was they needed Cloak and Dagger onto the point when their team wasn't fully there, but it was done to stall. And then Strange had to jump on the point, and then they started funneling out one at a time, which made it easy for my team to sort of clean up. It is much easier to let the opposing team rush and take risks and make mistakes than it is for you to try and make a play when it's not needed. And that's the trick to domination maps that a lot of people seem to misunderstand. There's far too many games I've played where you have control over the objective and you see somebody who's a flanker who's so used to flanking all the time that they don't know how to turn it off. And then they try to flank in the enemy spawn, they die, and then they end up walking forward and taking the point back through sheer numbers advantage. When you're on defense, you want to try and let the enemy team take risks into you, but you don't have to, play aggressive in those moments. You can just let them make the mistakes. Okay, so here, we actually end up losing this round. A lot of miscommunications were going on. A lot of just poorly timed ultimates, but I'll still narrate over it because of the fact that, I want you to show that, like, not every round goes smoothly. I throw down my red station. Once again, I'm trying to analyze, like, what's the team comp, what's their positioning, what's going to happen. I get flanked by magic, so I get out right away. I should have destroyed my red station right away. I did not. And now I'm just trying to be mindful of this magic's location. And here you can see that, like, while magic was up here and she rotated towards me, I started to rotate away. And I wanted to get away from that position because of the fact that she scares the crap out of me. And I am now looking down this angle, so I can cover this angle with the help of my team, as my team is also covering this angle. You don't want to all group up in the same place. You want to be controlling, space from different areas. And everybody can do that. Support, DPS, tanks, everybody is in charge of controlling space. So here I am trying to see what advantages we can get as, trying to help my team. Because once again, I'm trying to wait and see where we can make a play and if we need to give up space or if we can take it. I lose track of my penny as I'm trying to heal him. And now they start to use ults to try and win this first fight so they can get control over it. But now you see that as we lose 2 people, once again, as you start to lose people, the rest of the team starts to fall over.
I'll patch you up.
I think I can get out, and then Punisher zip lines to me, and I don't see it, and I die. Probably just should have died here. But now in this situation, what they did is they took control over the point, and they did so extremely efficiently because of the fact that they only use Invis Woman ult. And now they want to try and maintain control over that objective as long as possible, while also, like, doing so in a way where if my team doesn't make a play fast enough, they'll build up ults again. And so we want to use our ultimates. We want to get into a position where we want to make an aggressive play. And we want to do so in a quick enough way where we're not allowing them to build up ultimates, again to defend. So I throw my res station down as she dives in and immediately gets a pick and gets a second pick. And unfortunately, Bucky gets res just to die again. My bad, dude. And now You see how they had the numbers advantage and they used a single alt to maintain that numbers advantage. Now, where we were going to try and contest much sooner, now our team is forced to regroup again. And the entire time that we're regrouping, this percentage is getting higher. But they did so in an extremely efficient way where they used one alt and stopped us. This is where you're buying time, right? Kills ultimately in this game are what lead to you having, time on the objective. Kills are the easiest way to maintain control over the objective. There's other ways to do so though. And now right here, we want to try and make a play. And this is where the miscommunication happens. I think Cloak and Dagger is going to ult to make a play and she doesn't. And because of that, I don't ult, but one of us should have ulted sooner than we did. I might have been able to use the rocket ult for the magic ult, but I wasn't sure. So now they're using Emma Frost ult, and they're getting one pick, and watch how they don't use any more ults, right? I let my team die thinking it's time to reset, and then our team gets lucky picks, and I was like, oh crap, I should have been healing because I thought we were going to die. So it's another mistake that just snowballed out of control. But they got that numbers advantage through the sheer force of just one ultimate alone, which is extremely efficient on their part. And now, because of the fact that we didn't make a play fast enough and we didn't, use our ultimates in an efficient enough way, they already have another Invis Woman ult, which is just buying them even more time. So now they're using ultimates, but they actually they messed up here where they double use support ults and mag ult. And they went an extremely inefficient way in which they used 3 ults, didn't kill anybody. And now, because of the fact that they messed up so many of their ults, we have natural ult advantage to try and retake the point. I'm heal botting to make sure Cloak and Dagger doesn't die to the ult. Bucky jumps in, and now I recognize that I want to follow up on what my Bucky is doing because Punisher is their win condition, being the only person I know that has his ult available. So we kill him, and I try to then help my team follow up. I see that this magic is absolutely popping off and I'm scared, so I use my ult to try and secure the point faster. And with the help of my ult and just sheer numbers advantage, we're just going to take this point. And here's where, after we got the stagger on magic, I thought to myself, like, we could get another stagger here if I play aggressive. And I, just like the Hela, I try to limit test myself and see if I can quickly execute a Punisher or if I can outplay him. And I get blown up immediately, and I'm like, no, that's my bad. But luckily he dies too, so we're both coming out of spawn. But here's where it's bad because his teammate will get to be able to rejoin his team faster than I can, because of the fact that my team is going to be pushed forward holding that space. And I switched to Cloak and Dagger thinking it would be a better pick. And I'm like, okay, hey, play safe until I get back because I'm not there yet. And I believe it's the magic. Yeah, the magic ends up getting a pick. And now, because of the fact that my team is pushed up there and they got a pick on the one support, the enemy team recognizes that opening and they are going to rush my team as fast as possible. And even though I get there and I'm kind of healing, because of the fact that they rushed so quickly, they still end up getting a pick for it. And now we're down people. But they have the numbers advantage. And they're going to have the ult advantage. At this point, I realized that my keybinds got messed up somehow, and I tried to switch to Cloak, and I don't do it fast enough. And so once I figure out what the button is, by this time it's a little too late. I just mess up everything because I just don't know what... I got all thrown off with my keybinds being messed up. So here, me and Chris agreed that we were going to swap, that I was going to switch to DPS and they were going to switch to support. But I said, hey, I'm close to my ult. Let me use my ult first. Let's go triple support off the bat. And then once I have an opportunity, then I'll go to DPS. Sometimes in games, you might need to switch it up with people. If you find you're struggling either on support or DPS, maybe you and your teammates could switch up and you could just be like, hey, I'm having a rough time right now on DPS. I'm not performing as well. Does somebody else want to switch with me? Because sometimes that's all you need. What the enemy team's comp has, might just be built for the types of heroes that you play. whereas they might not be built for the heroes that your teammate plays. So it's sometimes good just to switch it up and recognize when you're not having like the best game. So here, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying once again, scout, take a look at what's going on, control space from different angles, and build that alt charge. I'm trying to play safe because of the fact that I have 90% of my alt. I'm trying to control the space by controlling this angle up here. And you see how the enemy team is sort of all taking different positions. We're all sort of taking different angles to try and make a play and controlling space. Penny is rushing to the point to try and control the objective. And Magic is up here looking for a play. She's been really good about getting picks all game, so I'm being very safe about her. And now I am just trying to heal and wait until I get an opportunity to ult and make a play. And here, our Moon Knight gets a really great pick on one of their supports. And now, once again, I am just trying to get my ult. And once I recognize that I have my ult, I'm trying to look for an open opportunity to take that numbers advantage that we have and rush to immediately, make a play so we secure the point as fast as possible. So we don't give them an opportunity to flip the fight around. Recognizing they're at a disadvantage, Magneto ults early to try and make a play to get the numbers advantage back. And because he fails, and now I know they have nothing to stop me from ulting, I ult to change that 6v5 into a 6v4 in our favor. And now we secure the objective even faster. I purposely tried to rush the Bucky, and I tried to see if I can blind him and kill him and do enough damage to get us another stagger. But this was also a calculated thing that I did, because if I killed him, that was great, and we get the stagger for longer. If I don't, I die and I get sent back to spawn, allowing me to switch faster. Because like I said, I wanted to switch to DPS. And that gave me the advantage as it put the rest of the team out of position and they got staggered. And now, because of the fact that Magneto staggered, I'm going to come back relatively quickly, even though we died around similar times, because I have mobility and whatnot. But now, once again, now that we have the numbers advantage, we're just trying to hold that numbers advantage. We use an ult, and unfortunately, we didn't get a pick with it, which would have helped us hold it for longer, because, like, once again, now that we're trying to run this clock up, we would just want to try and hold it as long as possible. So what we're doing here is we're not letting them get to the point. We want to push up to where it's safe, right? Here, we realize that we can walk up to this doorway. We can apply pressure. We can get ult charge. I am controlling this angle here. My teammates are controlling this angle. So that way I am not letting, like a DPS or something go through this area to try and off angle my team. I am controlling this space by saying, hey, I'm not letting you walk up here. This is my area. And this is us controlling and maintaining control of that objective, without getting kills, right? Once again, kills are great if you can secure them. But if you can't confidently secure them, the next best thing is applying pressure, pulling resources, and pulling attention. So here, I'm applying pressure, I'm building my ult, and I am afraid of magic, so I back out. Once again, on defense here, because of the fact that I wasn't confident with how she engaged me and where my positioning was, that I was going to be able to kill her, I backed out and played safe, and allowed her to sort of back out as well. Because me taking a risk in that position to try and ego duel the magic was going to put my team at a disadvantage if I fell down. So I prioritized staying alive instead. Now the enemy team, once again, is playing aggressive because of the fact that they want to make a play, right? They want to try and get control of this objective as fast as possible. Emma Frost makes a mistake and steps, so I punish her for it. Now, because I hear Magic ulting and because I know we have a numbers advantage, I want to try and keep that numbers advantage. Magic is the one player here who can take away our numbers advantage because she is ulting. So I'm trying to shut her down as fast as possible. But she gets the ult, or she gets the kill, and we have an Invis Woman ult on point, and Bucky is ulting. So now I am just trying to stay alive and prioritize like stalling out the objective as long as possible. I think I can execute the magic, but then the bubble comes up as well as the shield, and I get blown up. But I still, it would have been great to maybe get out, but I still died on point at the very least. Because if I was going to die, you want to die on point, so that way you get the percentage as high as possible, so you eliminate the amount of fights you need to win. But we know now they don't have support ults, which is really huge for us. I saw Moon Knight, by the way, on this side. So even though He's backing out here. I trust him to hold that angle until, I see his name in the top right. So I try to help follow up on what my team is doing, and I'm looking to see someone make a mistake and step out of position. I take damage and I immediately hide behind cover, waiting for heals, because of the fact that if I peek out here, I'm going to die. But once I see Magneto on this side, I know I need to, I know I need to get out of there quickly. Because once again, if it changes and I die first here, it means that my team won't be able to actually recontest or fight again until maybe 99. So I am trying to prioritize stay alive, and as I get low and it gets too dangerous, I leave. I try to follow up on what my team is doing as the Emma Frost plays super aggressive. I think maybe we can get a pick on her, but she backs out. And then as I dash to get away from the damage, I come back and I see Magneto wildly out of position. And once again, without any sort of, I know that his two supports don't have ultimates. So I immediately follow up on him and I say, hey, let's kill this mag first. Now the domino effect happens. We're playing safe, we're playing patient, and once they lose that numbers advantage, you're going to see my team suddenly play hyper aggressive, trying to focus down targets. And that as that one player falls, now the second player falls. And now that we have that numbers advantage, I want to try and secure it as quick as possible. But you see that, like, even though we have an extreme numbers advantage, the clock is still running up for here. I want to try and get this control over this objective as fast as possible. And with the magic getting a pick, I wasn't fully confident in our team because that magic has been popping off all game. And so I ult to try and make sure we secure it as fast as possible. I probably didn't need that, but in the hectic moment, it's hard to tell sometimes. So now, once again, we need to hold this for, probably one more fight, maybe two if they portal on. But here, because of the fact that Magneto was the first to die, he's the first to come back. But that also means that his teammates aren't here to help back him up. So he puts himself in a position where he uses his bubble, and then instead of rotating back to where his team is from, he rotates to the left. And I recognize that if I can get to the other side where it's safe, he can't shield from both directions at once. And here, this is a very easy thing to do. This is what I mean by holding on to that numbers advantage on defense. I'm not making a play to try and flank their supports that are coming back. I'm looking to see who I can kill to maintain that numbers advantage here, because now he dies and he falls over. And now that I have the numbers advantage, I leave. And this is a key thing that people need to remember about these games, is that you want to get that numbers advantage and then just hold on to it. A lot of people end up getting that numbers advantage. They get the kill, but then they greed and they end up dying, and then they lose the numbers advantage anyway, so you didn't help your team at all. Getting that first pick doesn't matter if you're also the first death. So here, once I use all my cooldowns to try and attack and assassinate the Magneto, Iron Fist is attacking me, and because I have limited resources, I'm just going to leave. And I leave, I stay alive. Iron Fist ends up dying too, and now his team is probably absolutely furious because of the fact that his team is in a 4v6 scenario here, and at a huge disadvantage, and they only have one fight in which they have to rush the point. But rushing the point in a 4v6, even with ults, is not beneficial. Magic gets an execute on our Atom, which was really good by her, but our Atom has their res. Now I hear Cloak and Dagger ults on this on point here, and there's 3 here. I know that Iron Fist and Magneto are not back yet, but I recognize that I can't kill anything in this position here with that Cloak ult, so there's no point in following up on what my team is doing. But I do remember is that there is a Magic in that was on this side, and now that Magic hears her team ulting, she recognizes that she needs to get into the fight as fast as possible. She needs to make a play, and this is what it means to be on defense and let the opposing team make mistakes. She knows that she needs to use abilities to close that gap to try and make a play and make something happen, especially the fact that they're already down people. So she's going to rush into a position and make a mistake. And I recognize here that I have low health, but she's missing more health. So what I want to do is rotate over to this health pack, take it away from her. And then once she portals in to try and rush and make a play on me, I knew she was going to portal. I waited. After I grabbed the health pack, I dashed through her and I get free shots as now she doesn't have abilities. And it's an easy execute. That was extremely easy for me because I let her use her abilities in a way that wasn't the most efficient, but she didn't have a choice. She had to try and do something risky in order to try and possibly win the point. And because of it, they end up losing. these are the final stats, and you can see that like you know, it I played the game as support, I played the game as DPS. It's it's all about holding on to that numbers advantage the best you can. Uh, you're trying to sort of set up and control the space early and then try and get that first early pick the best you can. But once you have that first pick, then it's playing smart after that, right? You don't need to play aggressive when you have control over the point. You don't need to play, uh, super ballsy after you get that first pick to try and force the second one immediately. You can play slow and work with your team and just hold on to that numbers advantage. There's still another match I wanted to show you where what you do when you don't immediately take control over the first point.
I have been welcomed to this land, and it is suffering.
And this is the part where I extremely mess up because this map is new and I have no idea where I'm going. So I'll show you what happens when you sort of lose the advantage early.
Farewell.
So here I cloak in, and what would have been smart is controlling this angle here and attacking from this position. Um, it would have been good for me to apply pressure and off angle from this position while my team was shooting from this position. But I see this area over here, and I've never played this map. And I thought, well, this looks interesting, so I'm going to go this way. And it was a terrible idea because now as you hear the enemy team is fighting and my team fighting at the same time, the fight is happening, which means they are fighting a 6v5, and I'm not there to even shoot, pull attention, pull resources, or apply pressure. And because of that, and because I'm lost for so long and wondering where I go, we lose one of our tanks. Like, sure, our tank, could have positioned in a way to maybe play a little bit safer and try and stay alive. But ultimately, this really falls on me for having so much downtime in that early fight and not being able to apply pressure and help my team. But now that we've lost one, you see that my team wasn't willing to jump onto the point and just die on the point, knowing that they were, going to win, knowing it was going to be a lost fight, right? Instead, they just let the team take the point because it's better to let them take the point and pull back and try and see if you can make something happen than it is to try and rush and stand on the point and die for it. Remember, you always want to try and prioritize surviving in these games because of the fact that uh, that numbers advantage is huge, and that's what you're trying to sort of go for. So right now, we're going to play super safe as I get rid of the penny bot thing. I go and I apply pressure from the side to try and pull attention. And here I'm trying to get rid of the mines and make sure I don't blow up. As soon as I start to take damage and I realize it's too risky, I pull out of that situation. But because of the fact that I had Punisher, Rocket, and Scarlet Witch distracted by me, and I prioritized staying alive, during that time, Thor made a mistake and ended up dying. And this is what you don't do on domination maps is you don't want to be the reason your team loses. So because of the fact that he dies, now it's become a 5v5, but our Emma Frost is coming back faster. So now I want to try and, change this from being an uneven fight or an even fight to an uneven fight. And I hear my penny say, oh, Scarlet Witch is low. She's one up top. So I dash up to follow up on what she is doing. Because of that, we get the kill, and now it's a 5v4, but now Emma Frost is coming back, so it's soon going to be a 6v4, and we are just going to walk through them through sheer force alone. I put Punisher down in an awkward position. I think I can get the execute. Once I see the shield, I immediately get out, and then I prioritize staying alive to join my team, because now I can just follow up what my team is doing. I already pushed the Punisher into an inconvenient position that I was in earlier, and now he's down there, but now I can help follow up on what my team is doing. And now I can get the Punisher after we got the penny, and everybody else just falls over. But you see how, before, if we would have all jumped on the point at the same time that our Emma Frost did, and we all died at the same time, we wouldn't have had a second fight until it was at 50%. And there's a possibility they would have won that fight, but because we played so patient and we gave up that space and prioritized staying alive, we were then able to wait for the enemy team to make a mistake, capitalize on it, and then take the point back. And here's me looking at, I hit tab and I look to see my supports needed health, so I didn't grab the health pack. I have no idea where this portal goes, so I click it. I fall down, I ask for healing, and I jump in front of Luna. I stand still so that way she can heal me. And then I go, and now I'm trying to sit there and position myself in a way where I keep the enemy back by applying pressure. And I don't know where they're coming from, so I'm sort of just exploring right now. Strange portals onto the point. Our Scarlet Witch is going for a play. It doesn't work. And now we're trying to, once again, we're prioritizing staying alive. We're trying to put them into a position where they end up making a mistake and dying for it. Thor dies again, and now it's a 6v5, and now we're trying to maintain that numbers advantage. It's already a 6v5, so even though they ulted on point, as long as we play safe and attack after the ult is done, we will ultimately probably win the fight just through sheer force alone. And because of that, we get a pick. Now it's a 6v4, and now I'm shooting the rocket because if I'm shooting the rocket, even if I don't kill him, I'm stopping him from healing his team, which means that I'm setting up my teammates to win the fights that they're having. You don't have to play the game in a way where you are getting all of the kills. You can play in a game in a way where you are distracting people at the right times in order to set your teams up for success. A lot of people, they blame their teammates for not doing well. They blame their teammates for making mistakes. But through any of the ranks, if you do enough of pulling attention, pulling resources, and attacking the right people at the right times, you know, even silver, gold, platinum, diamond, GM, all those players will beat people at their same rank if they have the advantage most of the time. So here's me just setting up my team for success and then following up and trying to execute and clean up whoever's left. And now they're just staggering out super hard and not getting anything done. This Thor is absolutely throwing it for his team. And now exploring some more, trying to see where I can go to hold on to this space and maintain this numbers advantage. Once again, I'm exploring because I'm like, I have no idea where I'm at. Now that I figure out where they're coming from, I'm shooting at the rocket ult because if there's nothing else to do, I might as well shoot at that. And all I'm trying to do right now with my team is prioritize staying alive to maintain control over this objective. So if we stay alive and that ult runs out or it gets destroyed and they don't kill anything with it, that's huge for us. I accidentally fat finger and I dash in, so I immediately cloak to get out. I see the support here, so I target her, and then she jumps into mines, and that ends up getting us an advantage as they lost one, but they got res, but we got another one. And they don't have, rocket ult, so the odds of him sort of solo carrying as a support is pretty low. Wanda's ulting on the point, which makes it easy if we all focus her. And here, I don't think I needed to ult, but I just really wanted to make sure that we secured the point because it was the first round, so that way I guaranteed us having, at least 2 rounds to try and win. But looking back, I probably really didn't need to use that ult. We had the numbers advantage. We could have just walked through them. But I want you to notice here how we made a mistake. And my downtime ultimately led to the death of our Emma Frost dying. But because we played smart, we played intelligently, and we knew to give up space, we didn't all die with her. We gave up space, we played smart, and we waited for the enemy team to then make a mistake and then retake that numbers advantage. And once we had that numbers advantage, it was easy to maintain control over this space. The way that these domination maps sort of works is it's like any part of the rest of the game. As you're trying to get that numbers advantage and hold on to that. And you can't always be the reason that your team wins every fight, right? You can't always be the carry. What you're trying to do is make sure you're not the reason your team loses, right? Knowing when to stay alive and when to engage and when to apply pressure and when to push is really, really important. And recognizing that staying alive has a lot more value to your team than trying to make a play and get a kill and just hope that your team follows up on you. There's plenty of times that you'll see me play where I'll go in and I'll apply pressure and I'll cause a distraction. And the moment I get too much attention and I'm at risk of dying where I don't feel confident, I get out. But during that brief moment in which I distracted a few people, it created a window of opportunity for my team to make a play and get a kill on someone else. And now that they got that kill, now it's easier for me to re-engage. So what you're trying to do when work as a team is prioritize staying alive and knowing when to push collectively as a team and finding that person who's out of position, who's made a mistake. So yeah, I hope this helped cover a lot of sort of the strategy around playing domination and how you want to have that numbers advantage and maintain the numbers advantage, but also that there's more ways to, stall out that clock on and hold control over that objective besides just getting kills. You can use ultimates to stall. Once again, it's also one of the reasons why Captain America is so good at, stalling out and maintaining control over the objective because he could ult on the point solo and stall for another 20 to 30%, which would mean that you'd have one less fight and you'd only have to trade one ult for it. a lot of this game is trading back and forth between like alt, having good alt economy and having good pressure and just sort of understanding how to control that numbers advantage, but also not playing so risky that you end up throwing it for your team. So anyway, I hope this covered as enough of like how to win domination maps and how to like sort of win the game in general. There's a lot of information that I can't cover in all these videos, of course, like off angling, positioning, all the other stuff. And I hope that you have a chance to watch all my other Marvel Rivals educational content. That would help. But otherwise, if you have any other questions or any other videos you'd like to see, please leave them in the comments below. But otherwise, yeah, I think that'll cover it. Thank you for watching.